YouTube bandwidth, sometimes it catches the very beginning of it. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live. We'll commence with this update here momentarily. I'm with Brandon Curtis from Idaho 3 Percenters, and here we go. With an update, actually I want to do as frequently as possible, just let everyone know what's going on here. But Brandon Curtis from Idaho 3 Percenters and one of the founding members of Pacific Patriot Network. Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
You walked in when I was on a tirade, and
yeah,
you know, I'm just hearing all this stuff and the stuff that's going on. Now it's permeated to being on the ground, so
right.
I thought it was important to address it.
Let me address that. And we're getting emails too through our organizational page about Pete and whatever history or whatever. I just want to put this out there. We have a full intelligence team in the Pacific Patriot Network that has fully vetted everyone we come into contact with, including Pete Santelli. We sat down and actually confronted Pete and had a conversation with him face-to-face about the concerns and the accusations. First and foremost, he provided us every bit of information, date of birth, social security number. We dug deep. We dug very deep. We also did talk to the FBI, who confirmed that fax was in fact, the fax cover sheet was not, it was false. First and foremost, in my background in law enforcement, I will tell you, when I worked with CIs and things like that, they don't send a fax cover sheet in with an update that's hard evidence that could get out to the public, because that's not how CIs work. So first and foremost, a reasonable person should look at a fax cover sheet and look at that, and even before I talk to Pete, I question that, the validity of that, because anybody can make that. And if you have a CI who's truly a confidential informant, they're not going to send a fax cover sheet with imperative information like that. So it's absolutely false. He showed us the screenshots of when his computer was hacked. We did dig deep into him for a total of several days, actually. That was our whole project, to make sure that this wasn't accurate. Because if it was accurate, I wouldn't be sitting here in this room. And I also invite, if I'm wrong, if Pete's not telling me the truth and what we found, if I'm wrong, if the FBI's wrong, bring me, and I'll give it to our intel team, the evidence that you have, and we'll deal with it. And I'll sit here and say that our intelligence team was absolutely inaccurate. And
facts, F-A-C-T-S, not a bogus
right.
Photoshop fax.
Not be
there
facts.
We go. Right.
So I just wanted to address that, because I walked in on that whole tirade, and I just want
I apologize for that.
No, it's okay.
Right.
It needs to be addressed, because I'm getting emails too. With the only thing people are providing me on emails is YouTube links,
right,
and links to other people's Facebook page with crap. And hey, if you want to send me stuff on our email page, or from our page via email with stuff, send facts and documents, actual documents that can be verified, because everyone else is buying into this. And what happens when you buy into this thing, especially in the middle of an operation, you become part of the problem, not the solution.
Right.
So what we need to do is, we're in the middle of something right now, and there's a lot of things coming out about us and our organization, Pete. There's a time for that after. Let's get these guys off the hill alive and safe. That's what our mission here is for. Let's protect this community.
Right.
And that's why we're here.
But after being properly vetted, the most important message that I wanted to convey through this last message is what's going on the ground. It's permeated down on the ground, because we got somebody in the camp that was trying to blow it up. But most importantly, the disinformation people that are regurgitating that stuff, it's destructive to the cause. It's distracting people from the core issues that we're trying to resolve here.
And what people need to understand is there's people put in place, either purposefully or people are just toxic in themselves that just want to create discourse because they can't have the fame or the spotlight, if you will, of the media that's already here, or they can't actually get out of their chair from wherever they are and come here and be a part of this, so they have to create discourse to justify feeling better about themselves for them not being here. And if that's your case, I encourage you to pick up the phone and call us here, because we can put you to work at home. We can have you working on things for us from home. But if your whole motive is to bring down the operation, create discourse, then we don't need you here. We don't need your help. That's where I'll leave that. So if someone wants to present facts, send them to me. But I'm talking facts, not someone's YouTube channel, not someone's Facebook posting and saying so-and-so said this, so it's accurate. I can make anything up I want about anybody, make it go viral, and make you all believe it as well. I want to see documentation. I want to see facts. We have spoke to the FBI. We have contacts there as well. That was confirmed as not accurate or true.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that until just right now.
No, you did not know that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We share too, so.
There you go. I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
To be properly vetted is important to me. Now, on this side of it, because I'm not on the other side, it's important to know if we have people among us who are, operating as, double operatives that are betraying the confidence of the Patriot community.
Right. Now, everyone that comes in to work on the Pacific Patriot Network under our operation here is vetted. They have to go through that process. We want to know who's here. We want to know who we're working with. And that's simple. And if we've got a couple of people that come that want to do that, they're just sent home.
And to let everybody know, I am I am working very closely with the Idaho 3 Percenters who have vetted me to not only associate with them on the operation here on the ground through PNN, but when I get back to Ohio, I'm going to be very actively involved, especially with your civil defense organization, a nonprofit,
Right.
to help build out that organization in Ohio. It's a civil defense organization that is a nonprofit that does a lot of great community service.
Right.
So I plan to do that work and to also help promote on a national level the good work that your organization is doing.
Well, that's what we all need to do. It's not about just an Idaho thing or an Oregon thing. We all need to come together nationwide and start building organizations like this and reach into the communities, help our communities. Because when you reach into the community and help people, and you do things that are positive truly from your heart because you want to,
Right.
people will listen, and then
Right.
people want to be a part of that, and that's how your organization grows. We grew from just me to, I think we're, by the time we get everyone put in and vetted through this last round, we'll have almost 2,500 members in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
That growth is huge. You know, and it's just not.
And what kind of work are you performing as far as community services?
Well, we help the homeless.
Tell everyone.
So we help the homeless.
Right.
We'll provide, food, warm clothing in the wintertime. We help abused children with our Motorcycle Patriot Riders group. We help abused women get out of bad situations. We have a team in place just for that. We will help disabled vets if they need yard work done around their house or whatever. We will also help. We like to get involved with helping around the holidays, especially. We'll adopt families that are less fortunate. And we'll provide them everything from the Christmas tree, the gifts, the Christmas dinner. We take it all over there and set that
Wow,
up.
awesome.
And we are able to do that last year. I think a total of 15 families is what we helped throughout the state. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that's big for one organization to be able to go do that. So yeah.
I've been very passionate also about helping homeless veterans, disabled veterans, and combat veterans that are out in the street. We went to Phoenix, so I'm very anxiously wanting to get back to Ohio and help get that off the ground in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, we're
good work.
And we're going to help you do that. So.
Yeah, great.
So as far as update here on Burns, we're back on the ground here, and we'll be here. Of course, as you guys know, we're in and out of here, but we still have a very large team here on the ground. We have very healthy numbers in place that are rotating in and out. They are assigning their tasks and details. What we are noticing, though, is a more of an aggressive approach by law enforcement and the FBI. One of our members actually experienced, we'll be releasing a video on that later tonight, experienced some harassment from the state police here, being pulled over for something that was totally erroneous, and then because we were parked across the parking lot, he then approached and accosted us and used an excuse. It's just typical harassment. I did confront him on that and put him back in his place. But we're seeing that.
What we're seeing through that video, and I'm going to cross-post that when you guys get it posted up on the internet,
Yes.
is the gross constitutional violations.
Oh, absolutely.
We have freedoms to come and go.
Absolutely.
This guy actually spoke out as a member of, I'm going to call it, the police state that is generally suspicious. You're guilty until proven innocent in the eyes of that officer that was observing somebody who he considered to be potentially a danger to society, without having any probable cause whatsoever.
No, and understand my background as law enforcement for 11 years. I understand, officer safety concerns and things like that. We were parked almost 100 yards away across a parking lot, just observing. And they noticed that. And so they called in an additional unit, with 2 more guys who sat there and just kind of stared us down during the traffic stop to make sure, we were whatever. And that's fine. That's okay. They want to make sure everyone's safe and officer safety. But as soon as the traffic stop was done, the state trooper got back in his truck with his partner, and they came over and got out of the vehicle and wanted to make small talk. And so I asked him about why he was, pulling one of our members over. And actually, our member wasn't even here for anything other. He was traveling from Boise to Bend for work. He just happened to be passing by. Anyway, we'll release that video, talk about it more later, and how that went down. But they did approach us, and first he jumped out of the vehicle and said, "Hey, I like your Power Wagon. I love your Dodge Power Wagon," and wanted to talk about that. And so I asked him about the harassment that he's doing to our members, and then he immediately spun around to saying, "Well, I thought you might have been broke down over here, so I wanted to make sure you didn't need any help." Now, everyone needs to understand, I have a 2015 Dodge truck. It's sitting there running so we could stay warm, but he thought we might need help as we're broke down. So you see what they're doing. They revert back to that, well, I thought you needed help. Because that's the blanket statement.
Right.
So, we'll talk about that more later when we release that video. We can talk about that and narrate it. So we're seeing more posturing from law enforcement. We're seeing 2 vehicle stops on one person in the vehicle. They're being pulled over for whatever thing, anything they can find, even
Is
making
it
things
is it
up.
intended just through their posturing that it's intended to intimidate? and
Absolutely.
to, right. I mean, it's a direct.
Absolutely.
Even with their kinder, gentler approach,
There's a
they're-
kind of gentler approach from what I saw yesterday.
there's not because of their unconstitutional conduct.
Well, they're pulling somebody over, and it's a single person, one occupant in the vehicle, and they bring 2 units with 4 officers.
Yeah, that is strictly
For what?
to intimidate.
Absolutely.
And
It's
to
an
overwhelm.
It's an intimidation factor.
Right.
And they can do that all day long because they're not going to intimidate us. We're not going anywhere. We're
Right.
not doing anything wrong. We're not doing
Right.
anything illegal.
Right.
Okay. The preface that they actually drove through a hotel parking lot and saw his truck there, and as they drove through, they pointed at it as they drove through, and they went across the street and waited for him to pull out, and then followed him and pulled him over.
Yeah.
And we followed them,
And you caught him.
and we caught him.
Right.
And we called them out on it, and they didn't like that response.
And
so-
his responses were in violation of everything that we believe in constitutionally.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So he even went so far as to say, well, his tire hit the white line. And I said, okay. I said, but why did you drive through our hotel parking lot and point at his vehicle when you drove through with your partner and then you waited for him? His response, I'm not kidding you, it'll be on the video. Well, you guys are from out of state and you're staying in a hotel, you might be intoxicated. So now they're profiling out-of-staters because we might be intoxicated or staying in a hotel. I mean, that's the most crazy thing I've ever heard. So now we can't even come to a town like Burns, Oregon, and stay in a hotel because now we're going to be assumed that we're intoxicated or we're alcoholics, and we're going to be profiled and pulled over based on that. And that is on video, guys. On video.
Wow.
And we will be filing an ethics complaint and demanding that he be suspended and investigated for violating someone's constitutional rights. We will demand that.
Oh, okay. Good.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
You're hearing that now. That's awesome. Can't
Yep.
wait to see that, and we'll cross
We will
post
stand
it.
with constitutional officers and we will support them and we will defend
Right.
constitutional officers.
Right.
But what we will do, we will hold officers that are violating the Constitution personally accountable for their actions, just like what happened yesterday.
I mentioned to Ammon Bundy, I want you to, of course, continue to give us updates, but I want you to comment on this. I asked Ammon, because of our interaction with the FBI and their lack of knowledge of the U.S. Constitution, there were some that admitted on the ground, state troopers, sheriffs, as well as FBI agents who admitted that they hadn't read the Constitution. They're not aware of Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17.
Right.
I said, as part of the negotiation, shouldn't you make it mandatory that at least all of these agents that have sworn an oath at least carry a copy of it? Whether or not they read it, they should at least have access to it and should be encouraged to read it from front to back. What do you think of that?
It's very commonplace. When I was in law enforcement, we saw that a lot. And there's a lot of, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good constitutional officers.
Well,
But
including
here-
me, I didn't read the Constitution until later on in life. I swore an oath to it when I was a Marine. So
But-
I admittedly did not read it from front to back.
But you recognize that. So we have a whole staging area full of FBI agents ready to go up and do whatever it is they're going to do.
And
to take
shoot
action,
people. Yeah.
and possibly shoot people and engage with people upon an oath they swore to uphold the Constitution. They took an oath. And that's a contract, by the way, in my opinion. And
That's dangerous.
that's very dangerous.
That's the very dangerous thing, especially when they don't. They need to have a full understanding of what the passions are of the patriot community as far as constitutional enforcement, right?
Yep.
That is their perceived adversary. That they're being told by their command that these people are a bunch of radicals that actually read the Constitution from front to back
Right.
and want to enforce
Because
it.
we
That's
read
not
the
a bad thing.
Constitution and we want to stand upon the values of what this country was built. We're the bad guys. We're the terrorists. We're the crazies. We're the lunatics. And it's just unbelievable. I mean, we have gotten so much email and contacts and messages and texts and calls and PMs on Facebook supporting what we do. And we gotten a few that are hate mail. And I just look at those and my heart grows heavy because they really are being led by whatever it is they believe in is false. You know, being called a lunatic or a right-wing extremist or a gun-toting redneck. I've been called all these things, all because I stand for the Constitution of the United States. And you know me, I'm not any of those things.
No,
you know?
certainly
I'm a human
not.
being with feelings, emotions. I have children. You know, I
Right.
put my pants on one leg at a time.
Love your country.
Love my country. I would die for my country. It goes nowhere. It falls on deaf ears, so it's a waste of time.
So you agree that part of the negotiation out of this, because I believe that we're now calling it a constitutional opportunity, as Chris Ann Hall said. This is an opportunity to really highlight that there's a disconnect between the members of the patriot community that want to be lawful, constitutional, and respective of constitutional sheriffs and peace officers as well.
Right.
But that training process should be mandatory.
When they're in the police academy.
Hold on just one second. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the interruption. And for those of you that complain about having a phone on, I'm live on the air, Mo. I need to call you back. Sorry. Okay, bye. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good, Sergeant Mo.
Yep.
Okay, so this should be a mandatory thing when an officer's at the post academy, peace officer standards and training, that they have to read, study, and be tested on the Constitution of the United States. That's what they're taking the oath to uphold. So why is that not required in this training? And that's an issue. And I think it should not. That's a non-negotiable. I understand where you're going with the question of should that be a part of the negotiation. That's a non-negotiable in my book, and that should be taught in the academy.
But it's not happening.
No.
It's not happening.
No, but they're taking an oath to swear to uphold it.
And they're
Uphold what?
publicly and openly admitting that they haven't read it, which
Right.
tells me that they haven't been fully briefed on what the issues are on the people that they're
But
going up against.
They raised their right hand and
Yes.
swore
Yes.
when they took that position, swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Right.
How can you do that when you've never have read the Constitution that you just swore to protect?
I understand. I understand it because guess what? I swore an oath to defend and support the Constitution of the United States and hadn't even read it.
Sure, you've been there.
As a United States
You-
Marine.
you've been there.
I understand, so I understand it.
Right.
But through this experience, it wasn't until later on in life when the Constitution has been so decimated
Right.
that I really started paying attention to it to say, how can we get back to where we need to go?
Right.
And the answer is in restoration of our constitutional republic.
Well, and law enforcement and the courts, they have to enforce laws. They're law enforcement officers, and I believe fully we're not anti-government. We need government. If we didn't believe in government, we'd actually be violating the Constitution we're swearing up.
That's
uphold.
exactly right.
And in that government, they have the constitutional ability to make laws and pass laws under legislation and the way the Constitution sets it out. And those laws need to be enforced. And we need to have speed limits. That's a public safety thing. There's certain things we need to have, and I completely respect that. But you have books this thick that the police officers are upholding, but they haven't read this little guy.
No, and that specifically states that any legislation, court orders, so on and so forth, they're in violation of that thing are considered null and void. And
Right.
people need to understand at least that portion of the Constitution,
Right.
that it's null and void.
Yeah, absolutely. So they spend all the time studying 2-3 inch thick code books, but this little book here, which sums up everything how we were founded, how those code books are in place and how they're enforced, is right here in this little book.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be taught in the
Yes, sir.
police academy.
Let's do this in the essence of time.
Yeah.
I want to let's talk about, and we'll talk to you more over the coming days. Give us an update on what's going on here, what people can expect in the coming days. A lot of work being done
A lot of
to
work.
hold the judge accountable,
Yep.
to hold the sheriff accountable,
Yep.
to engage with the FBI. The negotiation with Ammon Bundy here coming up in just a little bit.
So what we're going to do real quick, and then we'll get to work, and then we'll do another update tonight in detail. But depending on how the negotiation goes with Ammon today and the FBI at 11 o'clock, we'll determine how we're going to take a stance and maneuver, if you will. See how that, we're hoping that has a good outcome to it, and it starts that negotiation process. Finally, the FBI is reaching out to Ammon after 3 weeks to have this conversation, so that's a step in the right direction. Let's hope the FBI has good faith and good intentions on resolving this peacefully. But in the meantime, you can't help but notice how they're ramping up for engagement with tents, and they're bringing in personnel and cording off the hospital rooms for their own trauma bays.
Well, they're using that line, we want to resolve this peacefully.
Right.
And I'm going to counter that by saying we want to resolve it constitutionally.
Absolutely.
Right.
But again, that's Ammon's thing where he's saying the Constitution is non-negotiable, so that's going to be on his table, and that's okay, and we support that. The other thing while we do that, and I have no doubt when we're all done and we get this information out, the community will be thankful for the things that we're finding, and how we have documentation how he's railroading ranchers around here, acting lawlessly and illegal, and he was in cohorts with the old sheriff who's no longer here because he stepped down of corruption, which was tied into Judge Grasty.
Have you
Judge
been
Grasty, I hope you're watching, because we're going to come for you and we're going to expose you and we're going to do it the right way. And all the fear-mongering you're putting into this town with these people, blaming the idle 3%, the PPN for all these things, it's only because you're using fear and
Intimidation
and power tactics, and power, by the way, you don't have, to try to force us out of here, and it's not going to work. Because we have so much support in your community behind the scenes you don't even know. And we have hundreds of guys here on the ground that are going to make sure this gets carried out.
We are
aren't going
family
away.
members, fellow Americans
Yes.
helping our fellow Americans
Yes.
here in Burns. It's no
Absolutely.
longer an outsider thing.
Nope.
We're very, very concerned about what's happening here, exposing the corruption. And have you been able to establish that he is in direct violation of the state of Oregon Judicial Code of Conduct
On many levels.
on many
And
levels?
that'll be exposed. And he should, when we're done with this, we're going to demand he be arrested.
Yes, sir. I say so. And
Yep.
there's enough I mean, it's just the evidence is overwhelming at this point.
There's so much coercion. There's so much. Oh, it's amazing. So anyway, we'll leave it at that. But that is being worked on, and that will be brought public as soon as we finish that up.
Okay. Also, sidebar investigation. The documents that I mentioned that have come forward from confidential sources.
Yep.
You have seen a portion of those on your own through your own independent investigation.
Correct.
And we will be revealing this information. We have stuff that we will be. First of all, we had to secure them. That's the most important thing.
As are secure and they're disseminated among trusted sources.
Among trusted sources, and you can't, try to, launch a campaign against Pete Santilli and using all your YouTube internet trolls. That's not going to stop this, is it?
Nope.
Can't take Pete out, you can't take Brandon out,
Nope.
and make this information go away.
No, because if you cut the head off of this snake, 4 more heads will grow.
Yep, there we go. That's a powerful thing. And you know what? It's all on the right side of good for the benefit of the public and, of course, constitutionality. That's what our intentions are. It's not to retaliate.
No, and I'm sure people are sensing that my updates and my interviews are getting a little bit more emotionally charged. And there's a reason for that, because I'm so sickened by the things that we're finding that's been done to this community and these poor ranchers community. These are good people here. And then these ranchers and these farmers that are here, that's the backbone of America. That's what built this country, and they're trying to take it away. And I'm so tired of the bureaucratic BS they're talking out both sides of their mouths, and it needs to stop, and we're going to put a stop to it.
Let's end on a very positive note. I want you to speak directly to the people of Burns. Okay,
Yes.
as we just spoke, families, okay, concerned Americans, helping these family members here in Burns get back to not normal, because normal is corruption.
Correct.
Normal is prosecutorial misconduct.
Yes.
Normal is an unconstitutional local and federal government that is taking away the people's rights to live and prosper freely.
Yeah, and to all the community members here in Burns, we're not here to be the bad guys. We're not here to take over your community. We're not here to march down the sidewalks with firearms and things like that. Yes, a lot of us do exercise our Second Amendment just as many of the residents do in Burns. That has nothing to do with why we're here. The reason why we're here is to truly support your community because we care. We're not here for any other agenda or any other reason. And I know majority of you already know that because you reached out to us and given us so much support and help and information, and it's so much appreciated. Do understand that we're here for the right reasons, and we want to make sure that we continue to support you.
Read that on that wire.
Be here and support you and give you what you need to be a voice, to be loud and be heard, and not return to what you guys know is normal. We want you to return to what is a normal freedom of this county, and where the citizens of this county have a voice.
And normal is also, we know that this town has been subjected to the fear, the intimidation, the retribution that they've all lived under, and that needs to be lifted as well.
Absolutely, and you know that's the other thing. Don't buy into the smear campaigns. We've met with some people that say we were blamed for something at a laundromat because they're wearing a 3% shirt and is Idaho 3% member. Don't buy into that stuff. Our members are acting professionally, and those that are here in the community that have come and talked to us and seen us when we're out eating and we're out conducting ourselves, we've exhibited nothing but that behavior. Don't buy into the rhetoric that Judge Grassi is shoving down people's throats here because he's so concerned what we're going to uncover and expose of him and his corrupt and dishonest ways. Because you can do a smear campaign all you want, but it's not going to stop us. I can do that from anywhere.
That's right.
I don't need to be bullied out of Burns, Oregon to do it. But the reason why we're doing this to all the members of Harney County and Burns is because we care, and that is the only reason we're here. And I want to make that clear. And if you have any other concerns, everyone, I've handed my phone number out to hundreds of people in this community, and you feel free to reach out to me. You see me driving in town, you see us downtown, you can stop me, talk to me. Yep. And I'm nothing but transparent, and we'll continue to do that, and why we're here. It looks like we got a card here.
It's a thank you card from Washington.
It's a thank you card from thanks to all of you. God bless you and keep you all safe. And I'll just read what she wrote in here. Brandon and all of you, please use a small donation wherever it is needed. I want to say thank you so much for being in Burns. Thank you for all you have done and do. Please stay safe and keep all those at the refuge safe. I stand with Ammon and the rest. We must get our country back. God bless you. Thank you, Tammy.
Tammy from Snohomish, Washington.
Snohomish, Washington. Thank you, Tammy. That's much appreciated.
Receiving an overwhelming number of packages, care packages that are being sent.
Yes.
Some of the people that are spending money senselessly on some novelty items, stuff like
them
that, we're not even going to give them credit. But
Right.
but the overwhelming number of We've got soup boxes.
Yeah.
We've got perishables
Chili.
being sent.
Spaghetti.
A
Yep.
lot of deliveries being made
Yep.
in support of this operation, this campaign here, and we thank each and every one of you for
and
continuing
thank you for all
to
your
do that.
support for everyone out there.
Yep.
You know, the donations have been helping. Cards.
Small meetings with very few community members. The meetings have grown larger, and the
Yes.
meetings have grown in support, not necessarily of the outsiders, but in support of the people that are starting to feel empowered.
Absolutely, in support of
Right.
the community, they're in support of the message, they're,
Right.
they're in support of the direction things are heading.
Right.
And my commitment to Burns and Harney County, we will be here for that. We're not going in, we've already proven that.
The baton needs to be turned
Yeah,
over to the members of the community, because when we leave, they
Yeah.
have to take over and to continue.
And we are working on that. We are working, Harney County is establishing its own organization, much like ours, and we're helping them build that strongly and get the foundation in place. And the outreach to join that organization has been amazing. I mean, it's been huge.
You know, I mean, I hate, it has almost a negative connotation to say this, but to defeat normal that has taken place here.
We have to
and-
defeat normal.
You have to defeat
here's
normal.
the thing: if we were here for any other agenda, everybody, please understand, with all the smear campaigning going on by the sheriff's department, with his press releases trying to create fear mongering within the community against us personally, all the smear campaign by Judge Grassi, we would have left already.
Yeah?
Because when times get hard, if you're not there for the right reason, you turn and you
Yeah,
run.
you put your tail between your
Yeah,
legs and run.
And we're still
right?
here, and we're only here because we care. There's no other agenda. There's no other reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we want to help this community.
The FBI, they can't contend with somebody like Ammon Bundy that walks up and says, guess what, we're going to open up the negotiations by saying the Constitution is non-negotiable.
Right. They didn't know how to
It's
comprehend
difficult. They don't know how to comprehend it, especially if they haven't read it.
So
Right.
we'll have an update on that, and
Good.
then we'll have an update in detail from me personally this evening with some more information.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. Brandon Curtis, Idaho 3 Percenters, one of the founding members of the Pacific Patriot Network, member of the leadership team, and I thank you for all your comments.
Thank you.
All right, bye.